make our audio fade in and fade out into each other so that they don't just abruptly start and stop. So I suggest zooming in a little bit so that you can sort of see them a little bit better. And you can see, have a listen to the music. They just sort of go into each other a bit too abruptly there. So what I'm going to do is do a tiny bit of a fade in and fade out. So what you're going to do is go to about here on this clip here. Make sure your current time indicator is probably about 1 centimeter from the end if you're zoomed in fairly far. I'm going to go with checking the stopwatch now. So you've got to turn that stopwatch back on. What that does is it creates this little keyframe here, which is hard to see down here because it's not really visible. But what we've done is we've just told Premiere to set the volume at -25 decibels, and you can see it here by this little diamond. And if we go this way a bit, or if we move our slider and double click on the end of this so we get to the end of it and click back on it, we can drop our volume to whatever we want. So I'm going to put that down to maybe -40, which is pretty much can't be heard. And now let's have a listen. We've got a bit of a fade happening. That one's fading out, but this one isn't fading in, so we've got to do that as well for this one. So double click at the start, click on the audio, hit the stopwatch, turn that down to -30, and then once we get to here, we're going to put that up to back to -15, which is what it was on before. Let's have a listen now. There we go. So they sort of merge into each other now. We're going to do the same thing over here. So double click on the start of the audio, then click on the audio, hit the stopwatch, -30, and then scroll to probably about there. And I'm going to make that back to whatever it was before, which was probably about -15 or -10, I think. I'm going to do the same with this one here, except I'm going to fade it out. So it's on -15 now. I'm going to make it have a stopwatch, and then I'm going to go to the end, and I'm going to put it on -30. And last of all, got these two over here. So current time indicator right there, stopwatch, or keyframe, sorry, this one here. Click on the end, drop that down to about -30. Click on this Thomas Newman one, hit the stopwatch for us, go to about there, and we're going to turn that up. Although it appears -30 is its actual volume. Let's have a listen. Yeah, look, it's alright by itself. I don't reckon we need to fade that one. We'll just leave that one. It's a nice low volume, so I might just turn off that stopwatch again. So leave it on -30. But we know that at the end here, it's probably a bit too upbeat for the ending, so I'm going to start it fading out about here. So I'm going to put a stopwatch, activate it again, and then by the time we get to the end, which is here, I'm going to have the volume quite low. So I'm going to go with -40, and I might even fade out the video as well. And to do that, you do it a very similar way to using the stopwatch. Click on the video itself, go to opacity, hit create keyframe, or add a remove keyframe, this one here. You can see it pop up on this one, and then just go to the end, and we're going to drag, we're going to drop the opacity down to 0, and you can see it happening here with this little yellow line. Much easier to see keyframes and the effect of keyframes on video layer 1. Okay, so this is what it should look like. Okay, cool. Now that we've done our audio, made a fade out effect, we may as well put a fade in effect as well. So let's just do the same thing with the opacity there. Go to opacity, drop it down to 0, move in just a little bit, and then put it up to the top. And there we go, we've got a bit of a fade in, fade out. Cool. Alright, file, save as. You can call it lesson 1.2 or something useful. And you can go on to the next tutorial.